Have you ever wondered how spirits are judged? The IWSC is the biggest and most influential spirit competition. From master distillers with decades of experience to mixologists and bar owners, journalists and flavour experts, it's the calibre of the judges that stands out. This is where spirits are being put through their paces. With more than 4,000 entries, 1,000 of them gin, this is where 59 experts across 8 days, all of them leading experts in their field, are deciding which spirits are worthy of a coveted IWSC medal. How are the spirits judged? Because you're dealing with a really bewildering array of different drinks here.
Absolutely. So each spirit is judged in its own category, and within that category there are subcategories. The panel is constructed around those categories, so it's experts judging those spirits. Each spirit category, subcategory, is broken down into a manageable number, say around sort of 10 to 15 samples. As these samples come in, they're individually sampled by the panel, and the panel then have a discussion at the end of that round around where these spirits sit and if they deserve a medal, and if so, within which category of medal they sit. This is one of the things that's hugely important about the IWSC, is this individual assessment of each spirit on a professional basis, followed by a very in-depth discussion to understand where that spirit sits. And that's what's fair about it. It gives each spirit a fair amount of time to sit in the glass, to be assessed, and then to really have a discussion with some experts to say what this spirit would deserve in terms of a medal.
So first of all, you want to identify if there are any faults in the whisky, and most of the time there aren't any, which is great. That's what we like to see. But then we look for what kind of flavours and aromas are present. So how much of that flavour is there? Do those flavours work in tandem with each other? Is there complexity? Is there a depth of flavour? Does it take you on a journey? And that's really what we're looking for, is this going to be a pleasant experience for the end consumer who's purchasing this bottle? Are they going to have a great time with this? Because ultimately, if we're giving this bottle a medal, we want to say to the consumer, you are going to enjoy this. So that's what we kind of look for, is hopefully giving somebody a great experience.
You can't help thinking, do I like it or not? But that's a personal thing. It's the first thing you get. But really what you have to consider is, first of all, is it gin? You know, and some things are a bit borderline, I think, these days. So at least, you know, the definition says predominantly juniper by taste. The flavoured gins, that's a hard one to match. But I expect the presence of juniper to be identifiably there, you know. And then, is it well made? You know, does it suddenly go cloudy when you add a drop of water? Some of the judges go furious that happens. If it's part of what the gin does, it's okay, but I don't think anyone does that on purpose, you know. So it's how good it is in terms of what it is. And of course, every flight we get is what? 12 or 15 samples. So it's comparative as well. So you've always got reference points kind of moving through it.
So for me, I have to judge it based on the information they give us, but I also will judge it on what I know from that area, styles that are coming out of that area, whether they're contemporary, modern, is it something that's classic? I think if I was judging a contemporary vermouth, I would look for more nuances and things that aren't typical, versus if I was judging, say, a very typical Italian classic style, which I'd be looking for, how does that quintessentially fit into what is their style? So for me, I take each one individual and, you know, try and give out the best that we can for everyone.
There is. I think that everything comes down to balance, whether it be a spirit or wine, and flavour and intensity of flavour, giving that balance. Spirits are slightly different because we might add water to try and find faults within the distilling process, which within wine you can't really do, and there are intrinsic faults that one gets when you don't add water. So there are small differences, but overall there's that similar thing of flavour balance.
Oh, judging Baijiu is a particular challenge and a particular pleasure, I have to say. I think that if you come to it expecting, many of the things that we would look to for criterion when judging an oak-aged complex Western spirit, you've got to put those to one side to some extent, and look at where complexity comes from, and it's typically not from aging processes, certainly not from extracting flavours from oak to provide complexity. A lot of the complexity comes from the fermentation process, which could take, many months, and in a few famous cases, the fermentation's been going for 3 or 4 centuries. Continuously, and understanding where those aromas come from, and knowing when you encounter them that this is what makes the difference between an amazing baijiu and a sort of a run-of-the-mill one. I think that, but you've also got to have the experience of having tasted reference point examples of the different subcategories within it.
Next time you're searching out your perfect spirit, look for an IWSC medal, and you'll know it's the best judged by the best.